Prince Harry just handed the royal family a list of demands. Not a gentle request, not a polite suggestion, a firm, undeniable list of demands. And tonight, I can tell you with absolute certainty, they are absolutely furious. But here is the massive twist that absolutely nobody saw coming. The man who spent the last 6 years practically begging for a way to come back into the royal fold is now the exact same person putting up the most impossible roadblocks. So, who is truly in control here? And more importantly, who is going to break first? Before we get into the absolute chaos unfolding behind palace doors, we have to address 3 massive questions. First, what specific non-negotiable requirements did Harry actually lay out? And why are Prince William, Princess Kate, and Queen Camilla finding them completely impossible to swallow? Second, there is an unbelievable twist. A highly placed palace insider just revealed who is truly pulling the strings behind all of these sudden requirements, and it flips the entire public narrative upside down. Finally, King Charles is caught completely in the middle of this bitter feud. The life-altering decision he is about to make could change the future of the British monarchy forever. Stay with me because this unfolding story is not at all what it looks like on the surface. By the end of this 30-minute video, you will see exactly who is playing who. The emotional stakes have never been higher, and the royal countdown has officially begun. To truly grasp why the palace is currently operating in a state of absolute panic, we have to look backwards. You cannot understand the gravity of these new demands without understanding the Cold War that has defined the last 6 years. The timeline of this family breakdown reads like a master class in how to dismantle an ancient institution from the inside out. It all started in early 2020. Harry and Meghan walked away from their duties, dropping a statement that blindsided the entire monarchy. They promised to seek financial independence while simultaneously fighting to maintain their prestigious royal titles. The institution was left scrambling, reeling from the sudden and unapproved departure. But the real fracture happened in 2021. The Oprah Winfrey interview was not just a television appearance. It was a devastating public assault. Harry and Meghan accused the firm of abandoning them to the vicious tabloid press. Even worse, they suggested a senior royal had raised concerns about the skin tone of their unborn child, Archie. The damage was catastrophic, forcing Prince William to step in front of the world media and firmly declare that they were very much not a racist family. The bridge was already burning, but in 2023, Harry took a wrecking ball to the remaining ashes. He published his explosive memoir, Spare. He pulled back the curtain on private conversations and deeply personal conflicts. He accused his brother of physically throwing him to the floor during a heated argument. He accused his father of spinning lies to the press. And perhaps most unforgivably, he painted Queen Camilla as a ruthless operator who leaked private stories to the tabloids to rehabilitate her own public image. Kate and Camilla were deeply wounded, and any remaining trust was completely shattered. By 2024, the consequences caught up with the Sussexes. Every door back into the royal fold seemed permanently locked shut. Harry lost his high-profile court case regarding his taxpayer-funded armed security. His media empire began to crumble as the Spotify deal ended abruptly, and the Netflix partnership looked increasingly precarious. Yet, just when the estrangement seemed permanent, a tiny glimmer of hope appeared. In September of 2025, the world watched in sheer disbelief as Harry and Charles shared a private tea at Clarence House. It was their first face-to-face meeting in 19 agonizing months. Emboldened by this emotional reunion, Harry took a bold step in December of 2025. He wrote a private letter to the Home Secretary pleading for his security status to be reviewed. And remarkably, the government committee actually began to reassess his case, which brings us right to May of 2026. Harry recently announced that he will return to the United Kingdom this coming July. He plans to attend the Well Child Awards and launch the official countdown for the Invictus Games being held in Birmingham in 2027. Everything was perfectly aligned for a smooth, triumphant return. But then, he handed over the list. Every single time Harry has tried to come back, there has been a condition, a demand, a line in the sand. But this time is different because this time he is not asking for himself. He is asking for Meghan, and that is what has pushed the royal family over the edge. So, what exactly did Harry ask for? And why did it make William, Kate, and Camilla so furious. Let us get into it. Let us dive straight into the stipulations that have sent shockwaves through the corridors of Buckingham Palace. There are three core demands Harry has firmly placed on the table for his proposed July return, and each one is more radioactive than the last. Demand number one: Meghan must be treated with absolute, undeniable respect. Harry has reportedly stated outright that all he is asking for is that his wife is treated with basic human decency and is not immediately cast as the villain before anything even happens. Now, if you are a casual observer, that sentence probably sounds entirely reasonable. Who would not want their partner treated with dignity? But you have to view this through the highly structured lens of the British monarchy. For the royal family, this specific demand means they are essentially being ordered to completely erase the past 6 years of history. It means they must plaster on smiles and act as if the Oprah Winfrey interview never occurred. It means pretending the 6-part Netflix documentary series was just a collective hallucination. It means forgetting every single damaging accusation written in the pages of Spare. Harry wants ironclad guarantees that Meghan will not be socially isolated at public events. He wants strict assurances that she will not receive the cold shoulder in front of the flashing cameras of the global press. Most pointedly, he demands that she is never left alone in a room with family members who have actively and publicly campaigned against her. It is an impossible ask. The palace views this not as a plea for peace, but as an emotional hostage situation. Demand number two is where the stakes become genuinely life or death: comprehensive top-tier armed security. Harry is no longer just petitioning for his own personal protection. He is demanding state-funded, heavily armed guards for Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet if they are to step foot on British soil. To understand the absolute, terrifying urgency of this demand, we have to look at what just happened recently. On May 9th, a massive security breach occurred at the Sandringham estate. A man wearing a balaclava and carrying a weapon managed to get within 50 yards of the property. That terrifying incident has drastically shifted the narrative and given Harry immense leverage. Harry has previously voiced his deepest, darkest fears to the media, even going so far as to suggest that certain elements within the royal institution would not be entirely upset if something tragic were to happen to him. Add to that the chilling reality that extreme organizations like Al-Qaeda have publicly called for his assassination, a terrifying fact read directly into official court records. According to a highly placed insider, the ultimatum here is non-negotiable. Unless the security situation is completely overhauled to his exact specifications, Meghan and the two children will absolutely not travel to the United Kingdom. Demand number three: a completely private, unrestricted, and unmonitored meeting with King Charles. Harry wants to sit down face-to-face with his father during this upcoming trip to officially begin a new chapter. An insider close to the Sussex camp revealed that Harry deeply believes the time has finally come to embrace a fresh start, and he is fully prepared to sit across from the king to make that reconciliation a reality. But here is the massive, unavoidable complication. King Charles is actively undergoing intense cancer treatment. His physical energy is severely limited, and his stress levels must be managed meticulously by his medical team. A high-stakes, emotionally charged summit with his estranged son carries an entirely different, incredibly dangerous weight compared to any normal family gathering. The men in gray suits, the palace courtiers, are terrified of what this meeting could do to the monarch's fragile health. Now, if you were sitting there watching this and thinking that Harry's request actually sounds somewhat reasonable, a husband wanting respect for his wife, a protective father wanting safety for his children, and a grieving son wanting peace with his ailing dad, I need you to hold that exact thought. Because the royal family's reaction to these stipulations is going to make you see this entire situation in a completely different light. What Harry sees as healthy boundaries, the palace sees as blatant, unforgivable blackmail. And there is one specific detail about these demands that nobody in the mainstream media is talking about. One tiny, overlooked detail that changes absolutely everything we know about this feud. We will get to that in just a moment. To understand why these demands have hit the palace like an absolute grenade, we have to look closely at the three distinct figures who are absorbing the impact. The reaction inside the royal walls is not just a unified front of minor annoyance. It is a highly complex web of deep betrayal, burning, anger, and profound sadness. First, we have Prince William and Princess Kate, who are, without a shadow of a doubt, the most visibly furious. For the Prince and Princess of Wales, the very idea of suddenly bowing their heads and warmly welcoming Meghan back into the royal fold is a bridge entirely too far, according to a highly placed palace insider. Asking William to swallow his pride after everything that has transpired over the last 4 years is simply an impossible request. You have to remember the specific, calculated damage that was done. In Harry's memoir, he did not just criticize the institution, he explicitly detailed physical altercations, claiming his older brother attacked him and threw him to the floor. He deliberately painted Kate as icy and unwelcoming to his wife from the very beginning. Because of these deeply personal, humiliating attacks, William has ruthlessly spearheaded a palace strategy of total distance from the Sussex brand. William is fiercely protective of his wife, and he knows that the moment a picture of them smiling together hits the global press, it validates the Sussex's victim narrative. He does not want a single photograph taken that could even remotely a royal reconciliation until Meghan issues a very public, very sincere apology. And Kate? She has maintained a total, dignified silence throughout this entire ordeal. But those in her inner circle whisper that she is unequivocally not ready to forgive. The wounds are still far too fresh, and the trust is completely non-existent. Then we have Queen Camilla, who is perhaps the most profoundly wounded by Harry's bold stipulations. To understand her quiet fury regarding the demand that Meghan be treated with unwavering respect, you have to remember exactly how Harry treated his stepmother. In the pages of his explosive book, Harry painted Camilla as a dangerous, calculating operator. He explicitly accused her of leaking private family conversations to the British tabloids simply to rehabilitate her own public image at his expense. Camilla has never publicly responded to these devastating accusations. She has kept her head down and carried on with her daily royal duties. But sources incredibly close to the Queen consort say she views Harry's actions as an unforgivable ultimate betrayal. One insider summarized the mood perfectly, stating that for the Wallaces and Queen Camilla, the idea of treating Meghan with kid gloves is completely out of order as far as they are concerned. After everything Meghan and Harry have said and done to damage the monarchy, demanding red carpet treatment is seen as deeply offensive. For Camilla, agreeing to this demand essentially means the royal family must collectively pretend that all of those hurtful accusations never happened. It means abandoning their own truth. And finally, we have King Charles, a man utterly trapped in an impossible situation with seemingly no way out. The king is desperately craving peace. He is battling cancer, his physical health is vulnerable, and he is acutely aware that time is a precious commodity. More than anything, he wants to spend time with his grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet, who are growing up thousands of miles away in California. But palace insiders are delivering a very stark, brutal warning directly to the monarch. They are telling him that if it looks like he is treating Harry like the returning prodigal son, it will ignite an uncontrollable firestorm of resentment among the senior working royals who stayed behind and did the heavy lifting. Charles is caught between the agonizing love of a father for his estranged son and his sacred duty to maintain the stability of the entire royal family. A source very close to the king recently revealed that the monarch sincerely hopes to see more of his son and spend time with his grandchildren, and that this will likely happen before long. But the massive question remains: under what specific conditions can the king risk alienating his heir to appease a son who refuses to back down? So, this is the explosive reality. You have William absolutely furious and refusing to yield an inch. You have Camilla deeply wounded and demanding accountability. And you have Charles, desperate for family harmony, but utterly terrified of the consequences. And right in the middle of all of this paralyzing tension, there is one glaring detail about Harry's list of demands that absolutely nobody has pointed out yet. One crucial detail that changes who the actual villain of this story really is. Here is the massive plot twist that separates the real analysts from the channels just reading tabloid headlines. We need to look closely at who is actually pulling the strings in this entire operation. An extremely well-connected royal insider recently dropped a bombshell stating bluntly that Harry was the one begging for a chance to come back. And now, just when things are finally moving in his direction, he is the one putting up massive roadblocks. Naturally, the public and the British press immediately assume that Meghan is the mastermind orchestrating this entire standoff. If she is indeed the one setting these rigid conditions, then Harry is hopelessly trapped between the unrelenting desires of his wife and his own desperate need to reconnect with his family. But look very closely at the behavioral pattern over the last several months. Every single time Harry has made a genuine step toward reconciliation, he has done it completely by himself. When he flew to Ukraine, he was alone. When he sat down for that historic cup of tea with King Charles at Clarence House, he was alone. When he penned that highly sensitive letter to the Home Secretary regarding his armed security, he did it alone. In all of those pivotal moments, Meghan was nowhere to be seen, and her name was not even mentioned. Yet, the very second a list of non-negotiable demands is leaked to the global press, she is suddenly positioned right at the dead center of the controversy. It begs the ultimate question: does Harry actually want these specific demands met? Or is he simply following orders from Montecito, effectively making everything infinitely worse for himself? This leads us directly into the second massive twist. Harry is actively, almost inexplicably, sabotaging his own greatest victory. According to palace insiders, by acting this way, he is making everything infinitely worse for his own cause. Let us look at the actual evidence behind the scenes. The security review by the government committee was actually trending in a very positive direction. Government officials were making encouraging noises about potentially restoring a modified version of his taxpayer-funded armed protection. This was poised to be the single biggest legal and public relations victory Harry has secured in years. But by allowing this aggressive list of demands to become public knowledge right at this exact moment, Harry has committed a catastrophic strategic error. He has suddenly turned a quiet, bureaucratic security review into a massive, highly politicized public spectacle. By publicly demanding armed protection as an absolute condition for his return, he is putting immense political pressure directly on the government committee. Bureaucrats absolutely despise feeling extorted or bullied by public figures. If the committee feels their hand is being forced by a royal ultimatum, they are highly likely to simply delay the decision or reject the request entirely just to prove they cannot be manipulated. Harry is holding a winning hand, yet he is actively choosing to fold. And that brings us to the final, most crucial twist of all. The entire global media is obsessing over Harry and his rigid list of conditions, acting as if the Duke of Sussex is the one dictating the terms of this royal standoff. But the stark, unvarnished truth is that King Charles is the one holding every single powerful card in this deck. Charles has absolute control over the royal titles. He controls the vast family wealth. He holds the keys to the Balmoral estate, which is exactly where Meghan and the children reportedly wish to stay. And perhaps most importantly of all, the king has the quiet, unspoken power to either subtly support the government security review or let it fail entirely. If King Charles truly wants his youngest son to return to the United Kingdom, he has the ultimate authority to make it happen with a single word. If he does not want him back, then 10,000 lists of demands will not make a shred of difference. The real question of this entire video is not whether Harry will decide to come back. The actual question is whether King Charles even wants him to return at all. Think about this carefully. Harry flew to Ukraine alone. Harry had tea with Charles alone. Harry wrote to the Home Secretary alone. Every single move Harry has made toward reconciliation has been made without Meghan. So, why the one time it matters most is Meghan suddenly at the center of everything? That is the question nobody is asking. Let us look at exactly what happens next. The clock is officially ticking, and based on everything happening behind closed doors right now, this explosive situation is going to resolve in one of three very distinct ways. Whichever path this standoff takes, the resulting fallout will be absolutely historic. Let us break down the three potential scenarios playing out over the next few months. Scenario 1. Harry actually wins. In this version of events, the government committee reinstates his armed security well before July. Feeling immensely emboldened by this massive legal victory, King Charles agrees to a private face-to-face meeting, perhaps even opening the door to discuss a part-time royal status. Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet board a plane to the United Kingdom. Imagine the sheer chaos of th. Scene. Meghan appearing publicly at the Wellchild Awards. Picture the global, internet-breaking moment if she is photographed standing anywhere near Princess Kate for the first time in several years. It would undoubtedly be the most viral royal photograph of the decade. But here is the dark underbelly of this specific scenario. How will Prince William and Queen Camilla react? If the Sussexes force their way back into the spotlight and get exactly what they demanded, the internal royal family dynamics will completely implode. The real drama will not be the public smiles. It will be the intense private fury. Scenario 2. The royal family holds the line and wins. The government committee decides to drastically delay their security ruling, meaning Harry has absolutely no armed protection guaranteed for his summer visit. Because her strict demands are not met, Meghan utterly refuses to travel, keeping the two children safely tucked away in California. Harry is forced to fly across the Atlantic completely alone. He might manage to get a brief, highly supervised meeting with his ailing father, but any talk of returning as a part-time working royal is firmly and permanently shut down. He flies back to Montecito completely empty-handed, rejected by the institution for the umpteenth time. Meanwhile, Meghan continues to aggressively build her independent lifestyle brand in America, completely detached from the monarchy. The geographical and emotional distance between the Sussexes and the royal institution, and perhaps even between the couple themselves, grows wider than ever before. Scenario 3. The ultimate deadlock, where absolutely nobody wins. From a viral standpoint, this is the most chaotic and perhaps the most likely outcome of all. At the 11th hour, Harry abruptly cancels his entire trip, citing the unresolved security issues as an insurmountable threat to his family. This sudden decision creates a massive public relations disaster. Remember, the Invictus Games are scheduled to take place in Birmingham in 2027. Harry is the founder and the public face of the Games. If he refuses to show up for the official countdown event, the entire tournament is thrown into absolute jeopardy. In response, King Charles sends a very clear, uncompromising message through palace courtiers. The door is always open for his son, but he must walk through it without a single condition. Both sides dig their heels in deep. We enter a state of total freezing deadlock, and the ultimate question of who will surrender first stretches all the way to the end of 2026. To know exactly which timeline we are living in, you need to watch for 3 massive clues dropping over the next 14 days. First, pay incredibly close attention to whether the government committee issues a formal ruling on the security situation before the 1st of June. That is the crucial unofficial deadline for summer travel arrangements. Second, keep your eyes heavily focused on the 19th of May. That specific date marks the couple's 8th wedding anniversary. Will they post a celebratory photograph? And more importantly, what exactly will the caption say? Their public messaging will tell us everything we need to know about their current mindset. Third, closely watch Prince William. Listen carefully for any subtle, indirect comments he might make during his public engagements regarding his brother's potential visit. The tension is currently at an absolute boiling point. I will be watching every single one of these developments in real time. And when something breaks, and something will break, you will want to be here first. What do you think is the most likely outcome? Will Harry get his way, or will the palace stand firm? Let me know your thoughts. Now, I am turning this entirely over to you. The entire Royal Watcher community is completely fractured over this latest development, and I need to know exactly where you stand on this massive divide. There are really only 2 camps here, and the battle lines are drawn incredibly deep. Are you strictly Team Harry? If you are on his side, your argument is crystal clear. He is simply trying to protect his wife. After everything Meghan went through inside that ancient institution, the crippling isolation, the silent tears, the suicidal thoughts she spoke about so publicly and bravely, Harry is doing exactly what a fiercely loyal husband should do. He is finally drawing a hard line in the sand. He promised the world he would never let history repeat itself, referencing the tragic fate of his late mother, and he is demanding basic human respect for the mother of his 2 children before stepping foot on British soil. Or, are you firmly Team Royal? Your perspective is entirely different. After the explosive Oprah Winfrey interview, after the 6 grueling hours of the Netflix documentary, and after the ruthless publication of Spare, where they aired every single piece of royal dirty laundry for the whole world to see, the Roya does not owe Meghan Markle a single thing. Not one thing. The monarchy is an ancient institution that must survive. Above all else, and protecting the crown means holding firm against those who constantly attack it. They burned the royal bridges, and now they are demanding a velvet carpet be rolled over the ashes. Drop Team Harry or Team Royal in the comments right now. Defend your side. I am going to be reading every single one of your responses tonight. While you are typing your thoughts, let us quickly recap the 3 crucial elements we have uncovered today because the narrative is shifting incredibly fast. First, Harry has officially handed the palace a highly controversial list of demands regarding his planned return to the United Kingdom this coming July for the Invictus Games countdown. Every single stipulation revolves entirely around securing unyielding respect and heavily armed protection for Meghan, and the senior working royals are absolutely livid. Second, we know exactly why this is causing such internal chaos. Prince William, Princess Kate, and Queen Camilla are completely unwilling to simply swallow their pride and bow to these aggressive ultimatums. The emotional wounds inflicted by the explosive memoir are simply too deep to ignore, making any forced public reunion an impossible pill to swallow. And third, we expose the massive twist hidden beneath the surface. Just when King Charles seemed ready to open the door, and his security review was looking positive, Harry threw up massive roadblocks. It leaves us with the ultimate question. Is Harry actively sabotaging his own homecoming, or is Meghan pulling the strings from California? If you are new here, I cover the complex dynamics of the royal family every single day. We do not just read the mainstream headlines. We decode the intense strategy behind those headlines. We analyze the ruthless politics hiding behind the polite smiles. Hit that subscribe button right now if that is the kind of deep, unfiltered analysis you want in your feed. Because let me promise you, this specific story is far from over. Before I go, there is one more layer to this story that I have not been able to get into today. It is a detail so highly guarded and so deeply personal that it could completely shatter the entire royal narrative we have been following for the past 4 years. It specifically involves what King Charles reportedly said privately to a close trusted friend just last week regarding his youngest son's strict list of demands. We have talked extensively throughout this video about the absolute fury of the Prince of Wales. We have analyzed but the king is the one who holds the ultimate power over the monarchy, and his true unfiltered feelings have been shrouded in absolute secrecy behind palace doors until right now. According to the specific person who was actually in that room standing just a few feet away from the monarch when the demands were discussed, what Charles said was not angry. It was not frustrated. It was not a demand for a public apology. It was something far more surprising than that. It was a reaction that absolutely nobody inside the palace walls saw coming. And it has the potential to change the entire trajectory of this fractured father and son relationship. I am currently verifying the final crucial details with my top sources, and I will have that full exclusive story for you very soon. Make sure you are subscribed and the notification bell is turned all the way on because when that one drops, and it absolutely will drop, you do not want to be the last person to know. The royal drama is escalating by the minute, and the next move belongs entirely to the king. Thank you for watching, and I will see